So the first Project Soapway winner that we are going to talk about for the Woodgrain Challenge actually inspired the Woodgrain Challenge. So if she had not won, it would have been weird. Like, seriously, her Woodgrain still lives rent-free in my mind to this day. And, luckily she did win. And I'm going to tell you more about who this winner is and why her Woodgrain is so amazing in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for week 30 of year 3 and Project Soapway Challenge Woodgrain. And today's winner is our Twisted Tree. And yeah, Twisted's won another one of these before. Maybe two, actually. And when I was going through her website and checking out everything that they had done on our Twisted Tree and finding stuff to purchase, I found a wood grain soap that was absolutely gorgeous. And I mentioned in that video that that might be a good idea for a new challenge because I have not done a wood grain in a while. Now, you got to see my wood grain yesterday, and obviously we are going to be celebrating Twisted and their amazing wood grain today. In true, Soap and Clay, Sudsers are going to come represent and show all the love style with the wood grain that inspired it all. So let's get to Twisted's video. We can talk all about the creation of our Twisted Tree, what they've been doing with their business line, what they've been doing with their lives, what they've been doing with their website and all the things, in the video while she makes an amazing wood grain soap. Okay, Susie of Our Twisted Tree is up today, and Our Twisted Tree is a couple's, business that they run together. And this is not their first rodeo with running businesses together. They do all the soapy things now, but in addition to all of the soapy things, they also do all of the artistic things. And we'll definitely talk more about that in a minute. But for now, let's talk about what's going on in this soap. So we are doing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 color wood grain, which I find to be interesting because I have seen the final pictures and I don't know that I see 3 of the colors represented, or 2 certainly. So obviously we are going white and black and indigo and gray and also a green, which you will see her mixing up soon. And in addition to some slow moving oils within her recipe, she is also incorporating sodium lactate, which I like, nice bar hardening properties. And now I guess I'm confused on the sodium lactate thing because I have always added it in order to extend the trace, right? Because it has a dual purpose, nice bar hardening after saponification, but extends trace so you can accomplish more complicated batches. That has always been my experience, right? But I was on Brambleberry the other day and it said on there that it doesn't accelerate trace too much. And so now I'm bigly confused. What is your experience with sodium lactate? Is this something that you would incorporate into your batch to extend trace? Or just to harden the bar? Because I do it for both, as I just said. And so now I'm confused. What are your thoughts? Is the point. But anyway, with this particular recipe, as you can see, she stirred it for a very long time. She hand stirred it. And I really like seeing that. That suggests that she is definitely paying attention to her oils and her lye solution. She wants to get this at a nice emulsion, nice and thin, so she has enough time to work with the batter itself to pour a wood grain. Because wood grains, as you saw with my video, they can take a little bit of time. And interestingly, we never seem to use the appropriate sized container to actually do the, in the essentially container swirl or the layering of all of the colors in order to put it all into the actual mold. We never seem to use the right size container to do that with just one round. Isn't that odd? I find that to be kind of odd. But I guess there's probably a good reason for it, because with the continuing to build inside your container and then pour, you're going to yield different layers within the soap itself because of the varying degrees of thickness, right? Because my soap, as you saw in, day before yesterday's video, it had very, very thin batter when I first started actually layering the pour. And then it got thicker as the pour progressed because I was using an accelerating fragrance. And so as a result, it ended up with some areas of the bar that were very thin and the colors were sort of muddy, very muddied together. And in other areas, the lines were more crisp, which does mimic a wood grain, like a piece of wood, a lot more realistically. So I guess there's a lot to be said about doing it in multiple parts. But for me, I kind of do just want to start using one container and just being done with it. Layer all the colors, pour it in, kind of like I do for my 5-6 color salt bar that I've done a couple times on the channel. And I think I'm going to be doing again next week because it's the damn season, and so I filmed some footage. So I might do that over an FAQ. But anyway, so Susie of Our Twisted Tree is the soap maker extraordinaire for Our Twisted Tree. And as I have said in one of her other videos where she has won a Project Soapway challenge, she has been doing this with her spouse for a very long time. Our Twisted Tree, the name comes from her family and the big dynamic that they have, because they've got a boatload of kids between the two of them. It's kind of a hers, and ours, situation. And I think that that's so fun. Big families are something I always wanted, but then after just having the two, I'm kind of glad that I don't, because they already have so many kids around all the time that it feels like there's a million people in a big family in my house at all times. And so that can be a lot. But Our Twisted Tree, that's kind of where the name came from. And while Susie does the majority of all of the soap stuff, she has her spouse works on the displays, and she makes like the jewelry and all the fun stuff on the website. I highly recommend going to check it out. Her displays for Our Twisted Tree, their displays are absolutely gorgeous. So creative with the stuff that they do for their booth events and whatnot. Their photography is on point, and I think it's on point because Susie, if I'm remembering correctly, is a photographer as well. So that makes sense. And then the actual jewelry and everything that she does at Our Twisted Tree that her spouse does, so gorgeous. So you should definitely go check it out. So many beautiful things. And I love that they have this real connection with, the website that they do. They have different offerings. So people that are interested in the artistic side, you can do that. People that are interested in the soap side, they can get that there too. I love this. And I also got some more information about their life and all of the jazz through some of this. And she actually said that she was giving me information about her house, right? And she said that they live in an old farmhouse that was built in 1863. And one of their rooms has a ceiling made from recycled pallet boards. That's so wild. I love that. Everything about just this repurposing life and building things together and having cool, second use, second life. I think that's great. And it really does shows in spades. I mean, within the soap, not necessarily, because there's only so much repurposing you can do within soap, but certainly within the jewelry and the other artistry that you can find on the site. Very, very cool. And I absolutely love to see it. I also do love to see all of these 5 colors represented here, right? We've got a very big black. We've got this indigo is going to be a very light, almost denim blue, kind of a sagey green going on. So the colors for the blue and the green, kind of light, but again, I've seen the cut on this, and I don't know that I saw either one of these colors represented within it. And so it does make it kind of sad that the colors, didn't end up in there much, but also because these two colors are so similar to your grays and your whites there, they could have just served to add some interesting shadows to the entire, pour and design. So, I mean, we'll see. You guys definitely be on the lookout for that as we watch the pour and, of course, the cut, which is coming up right now. I mean, not the cut, but the pour part, because she's ready to layer all these soaps and get the pouring. And it looks like she's going to be pouring on an angle like I was pouring with my soap, so that makes sense. And she's going to be, again, layering these colors into another container before pouring into the mold itself. Now, she is doing this different than I did, so she is going to be layering it essentially striped towards the actual pour spout with all these different colors instead of doing like the faux funnel that I had done yesterday. So another way to make a wood grain for sure. Lots of ways to make a wood grain. And so I really like this. Very cute. So the bulk of it's going to be white on one side, and then we have blue, gray, green, and black. And she's going to start doing her wall pour just like that. I love that she's showing us how to do that, as well as just kind of getting the motion in hand before the soap batter starts, coming out, to make sure that she's not layering anything down too terribly thick or aggressively. So I love that. And as you can see, just like with mine, beautiful ribbons there. It's kind of looking like snake skin, all of the jazz. Every time I see a wood grain made these days, I just think about the Reputation bar that I made during the Taylor Swift series back, years ago. And I think snakeskin, because I made a snakeskin bar in look, not in, like, I didn't put the snake shed into it. You get it. But anyway, this is a very beautiful attempt. She did say within this footage that she likes to put in at least a third or up to a half of her soap batter before she starts putting the knots in. So doing the little, kind of shutter step, going back and forth, and then continuing along that trajectory before, whatever. So there's a knot in the wood itself. And so that's good information for sure. All of this is definitely something you should absolutely pay attention to when it comes to Our Twisted Tree, when it comes to Susie's pour. A, because she is incredibly meticulous and makes really gorgeous soaps as a result. But two, because she has some of the most beautiful wood grains specifically that I have ever seen. And so this is her making her little knots. And you see there, she actually did like 3 passes for that particular knot. So like kind of 3 back and forth quick motions before continuing on. There you go. She did 4, 5, 6 there. That's gorgeous. Okay, that's much smarter. I am going to try that in one of my wood grains. Certainly, I usually do just 1 quick back and forth and continue on. But her knots are really, really gorgeous. So I'm going to take a page out of this book for sure. Now, with this, I did cut out a lot of her, continuing to relayer her batter into the mold, into the container itself, just because that can be kind of a long and tedious process for sure. But she is not actually completely emptying this container between refills. So there is still a lot of soap batter left at the bottom. The bulk of that is going to be your white and gray kind of muddied together, as we can see. And she's going to continue layering the soaps in a line pointed towards the spout, toward the actual pouring part, with all of this, while keeping that white batter still inside, so the colors that have been muddied together. And I think that's a very cool idea for sure. Not completely emptying the container kind of keeps that fluidity going with the colors muddying together or combining as much as possible. And for this particular one, it looks like we have more black and gray than white, blue, or green in this particular pass, which is going to yield some really beautiful contrasts, right? Between the black and the white there, and then the gray. Yeah, that's absolutely gorgeous. And I love what she does with her knots there. That's so smart. And now that I'm thinking about it, definitely pay attention during the cut so we can see how she cuts the bar. Does she just turn it on the side, and so she cuts essentially the left part of the mold and then the right part of the mold and then the middle, or does she cut it the top of the soap and then the bottom of the soap and then the middle? We'll see. But this is absolutely gorgeous, and I really like what she does here because she makes a little bit of a mistake coming up, and she gets a little drip of soap that ends up on, this soap right here, which leads me to think that maybe the way she cuts it is going to be She separates the top from the bottom and the middle instead of cutting it from side to side, essentially. But she is so precise, and she is so just, perfect with everything that she makes. She takes her skewer out at that moment. And she fixes that little line. She doesn't want to see it in there. So she goes and she makes it look like a wood grain there with her little mistake, which I would never do, ever. And so I wonder if she's had situations, I assume that she has had situations wherein she's noticed that in her cut and she doesn't like it. Just a thought. But yeah, this particular soap, I don't see a whole lot of blue or green represented. Certainly see the three beautiful colors of black, white, and gray. But the blue and the green, I think it's getting lost in the sauce. But as I said, it might just be contributing to different shading and shadowing throughout the bar itself. So as with mine, you can definitely see some pinks and yellows because I picked some very kind of bold colors for a wood grain. But with hers, you might not see the blue and the green, but you might see essentially a different variation of a gray or a black or a white because of that inclusion with the blue and the green in it. Now with all of this, as she gets to the end, she is going to start taking all of the rest of her soap batter, because us as soap makers, we don't ever want to keep anything in the containers. We want to get it all into our molds and make sure that none of that soap batter is, wasted. Now, a lot of people will take that soap batter and they'll put it into other molds and use it as samples, like Lunar Bee is what comes to mind. She makes the beautiful little bee samples of soap, the rest of the soap batter. But with Susie, she's actually going to take this and she is going to put the solid colors of the grays and the greens and the blues along the sides and then work those colors into the actual pattern and the design of the soap with her skewer at the end of her pour, which I think is really a great idea. I tend to just put it all on top and do a, skewer top like you saw with mine. That doesn't have anything to do with the soap itself. It doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the pour. It's just high pretty top that I swirl around a whole lot, and it doesn't look anything like wood grain. But I plane it off and don't care. But I think this actually might be a better way of doing it because it is incorporating it into the entire design, and you can therefore then not have to plane it off, which is always a bonus because planing soaps is not at all fun. I am going to assume that she is going to spritz this with rubbing alcohol. She is going to cover it. I'm going to assume that she's going to C-pop it, but I'm really not sure. Now this is here when she's explaining that she puts in the blue and the green. And as you can see them on either side of the mold there. And she's really working it in, creating her own knots on the top, as well as moving the blues and the greens into the rest of the soap. So there's not really big stripes of blue and green. But yeah, it totally combines together to create just a different color gray, essentially, which is really quite stunning. Let's check out this cut. Okay, now onto this cut, and let's see if we can figure it out together. So first up, she is going to chunk this out into sections that she's then going to cut. And so that's what the pattern would look like if you were to just cut that essentially top down like you would with a standard loaf. But again, since she is cutting this into chunks, she is going to turn it on a side of some sort and separate either, again, the left from the right or the top from the bottom of the soaps. And let's see if we can figure out which one that is, because as I said in my video, there are multiple ways that you can cut this to really release a pattern. And based on the look of that, she separates right from left and not the top from the bottom, I believe. It does look a lot like my pattern, and so I am going to go ahead and assume that that's what that is. She has separated, if you're looking at inside the mold, you've got essentially 3 bars going from left to right. So I think that's what she's doing. The actual pattern, like I said, it does look like mine, so I believe that that's what she's doing, but her design and her actually, the application, much better. 10 out of 10. Such a gorgeous bar of soap. I saw the knot in that first one, which was absolutely stunning. The lines themselves are very straight. There isn't a lot of curve to them. Like you can see a little bit of curve on this bar, but that is obvious that that's one side of the mold. And so that's what you're getting. But the rest of them, completely gorgeous. And I do not see any blues or greens, but like I said, I do think it contributes very beautifully to the overall shading and total composition of the work, which makes it a stunning wood grain. So ultimately what you have is a 3-color bar, but the colors of your grays and your blacks and your whites are changed with this blue and gray incorporation, I think. I think that is an actually stunning bar of soap. Like I said, this particular soap, when I saw it on her website months ago when she was doing her first Project Soapway challenge win, stunning. The most beautiful bars of soap I've ever seen. This is why we did the challenge, was for our Twisted Tree and her beautiful wood grain skills. And if you see that, she's definitely got some skills. And you can see a little bit of the blue in some of these, actually. Oh my God, it's so gorgeous. Well done, Susie, our Twisted Tree. You guys are amazing. Both of you are amazing. Thank you so much for showing me your spouse. I squealed when I saw that footage. So I got to meet her, via camera. And that was cool. And yeah, thank you for being a part of these challenges and showing us your technique. I am definitely going to pick up a lot of tips and tricks from your pour to incorporate into my wood grains moving forward. And so thank you for that. I really enjoy it when I get to learn new stuff from other sudsers. And, that's half the fun. So yeah, there's our Twisted Tree. And there it is, our Twisted Tree and a gorgeous wood grain. And yeah, I love this wood grain so incredibly much, but also I'm very, very glad that she won this challenge, because back when she won the last one, I did, in fact, make, a purchase, and I bought a box, and I haven't opened it up except for just as much as opening the top of it. And so it's here, and I've been dying to open it forever because it smells like thieves, like the essential oil, blend thing, forever. And I am really excited to see what's inside of it. So since she won, we're going to open this beautiful box and see what our Twisted Tree, what Susie and company have sent to me. Seriously, everything in here smells like thieves. It's so delightful. And I have a very lovely card, and you get to see the front, and it says thanks, and the rest of it is for me. So thank you, Susie, for that note. It's very nice. I know I don't say thank you after I read the notes and don't tell people about it on the thing, but thank you. And then we have the inside of the box here after I've taken some of the packaging out. Very beautifully wrapped. It's like a little present inside. I love to see it when that happens, for sure. Ooh. So this is where the thieves smell is coming from. So she had sent some of her Shield shower steamers, and I am very interested in trying them. I love the smell of thieves just generally. And so you have her shower steamer here, which looks like it's going to be probably, one of the impression thingies, the plunger to create, which is a very smart move. I do that for my steamers and my toilet bombs as well, but that is a beefy shower steamer, so I'm very excited for that. Thank you very much. Oh my God, that smells delightful. Okay, so we have one. So then we have this guy that is called Green Thumb, as you can see. And it smells delightful, has a beautiful top on it. Absolutely gorgeous. The package itself is absolutely delightful. This is smart. It's very keeping in brand with what our Twisted Tree is doing with their, business model and everything. Very, very smart. And then we have one called Lemon Berry. Now this bar feels so delightful just in my hands generally. It's a well-cured bar of soap. It's very hard. It's going to be a long laster in the shower. Smells delicious. I love that for sure. And I will be doing some shorts on this, but I say that all the time. You guys don't believe me anymore. Okay, now this is the one that I was really actually excited about. I dug deep into the package to make sure that it was found and secure and safe, because I had said that I was going to buy, that kaleidoscope thing, right? From Twisted when I was checking out her website. And so that's what this guy is. Oh, I should show you. Oh, I have stuff in my hair. Because as I said, they do more than just the soap. They have all kinds of beautiful artistic stuff over there too. And, oh, isn't that the prettiest thing ever? So you have the beautiful marble in there, and this beautiful copper wrapped, like, kaleidoscope thingy. It's so beautiful. Do I look like an idiot? That's lovely. I cannot wait to show this Open Clay Kidlets this, although I think I might want to keep it because it's like a work of art that I want. And she had also sent me some extra marbles to put into this as well, so I can change the color of everything. So I'm very excited about it. Thank you so much for doing that. And The soaps themselves, they're amazing. Obviously, so are the soaps that we got to see for the Woodgrain. So definitely go support Our Twisted Tree. Go show Susie and company all of the love. And yeah, thank you for existing in our lives. I know that we don't get to talk to your other half as much as, with you or maybe ever, but it was a delight actually getting to see her on camera. So thank you for doing that. I squealed so hard when I saw her. So thank you for introducing me to her, and thank you for introducing yourself to the Sudzer community. Thank you for being such an amazing part of this community. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being one of my people. I appreciate you. And for the rest of the Sudzers, I appreciate you too. And I know that I'm preaching to the choir when I say it's very, very important that you go over and you show Our Twisted Tree all of the love on all of the socials and help their soapy business grow. So go do that. I'm out of here for today. I have a million and two things to do before we wrap the week up and get ready for Ed Sheeran. That's going to be in a couple days. So I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of Project Soapway Woodgrain Soapy Fun. Bye. No, I dropped one. Whew. Didn't break. Marbles. Glass. Glass breaks.